Hello students, welcome to Pre-Calculus Lesson 3, which is Parabola. It's me, Teacher EJ, with Dr. Einstein. For our learning competency, we have determine the standard form of the equation of a parabola. And for our subtasks, define a parabola and graph a parabola in a rectangular coordinate system. Let's have first the definition of a parabola. A parabola is one of the conic sections. It is a set of points which are equidistant from a fixed point and a fixed line. Now let's have the more precise definition of a parabola. Let F be a given point and L a given line not containing F. The set of all points P such that its distances from F and from L are the same is called parabola. This is how a parabola is formed. It is an intersection of a plane to a conic section. Now let's have the parts of a parabola. We have the vertex, the focus, the directrix, the latus rectum, and the axis of symmetry. Later on, we are going to discuss all of it. So for the first part, we have the vertex. So if the vertex is in the origin, we have this. If the parabola opens upward, the vertex is the lowest point. And if the parabola opens downward, the vertex is the highest point. Siyempre kapag ang parabola naka-open siya upward, yung kanyang vertex, siya yung pinaka malalim or pinaka lowest point ng parabola. Same as pagka ang parabola opens downward, ibig sabihin pabaliktad siya, yung kanyang vertex, yun ang kanyang highest point. Now let's have the graph of a parabola. So in this Cartesian plane, we have a smooth curve. This is a parabola. And this point is its vertex. This parabola is facing upward. And that vertex is its lowest point. Now let's have a parabola facing downward. So that is its vertex, and it is the highest point of the parabola. The second part of a parabola is the directrix, the line y is equal to negative c or y is equal to c. The directrix is c units below or above the vertex. Ibig sabihin, ang palatandaan nyo para makuha nyo yung directrix is the vertex. So, from the vertex, the directrix is c units below or above the vertex. Let's illustrate for you to understand it further. Assuming this is the parabola and it is facing upward, this line is the directrix, and that is the vertex of a parabola. The directrix can be named as line L or y is equal to negative c since it is on the negative side of the y-axis. So that distance is the c from the vertex up to the directrix. Let's have another illustration. So let's have this parabola facing downward. That is its vertex, and that is the directrix. We can also call that directrix as line L, or y is equal to positive c because the directrix is in the positive side of the y-axis. And that distance is called C, since the directrix is C units below or above the vertex. In this case, the parabola is facing downward. That's why the directrix is above the vertex. Next part is the focus. So this is an ordered pair, meaning it is a point. Point F containing an ordered pair of 0 and C. C means a constant. Or point F, 0, negative C. The focus is C units above or below the vertex. Pareho dun sa directrix, di ba? Pero dito, ang focus, ang kaibahan nila, ang focus ay isang point at hindi isang line. Kaya ang ating palatandaan is, ang focus ay palaging nasa paloob ng parabola. Ibig sabihin, siya ang palatandaan kung saan nagfi-face yung ating parabola. To understand it further, let's illustrate the focus. So, our focus is located inside the parabola. So, it determines where does the parabola opens. So, that is point F. Point siya, hindi siya line. That's why given siya in an ordered pair. So, mostly, nasa y-axis siya or x-axis. So, in this point, dahil the parabola opens upward, it is on the x-axis. But, if the vertex is not on the 0, 0 or in the origin, of course, wala din siya sa x-axis or y-axis. So, depende. Dapat tuwid sila. So, magka-align dapat si vertex at si focus. And that distance is called the C. It is a unit or C unit above the vertex since this parabola opens upward. Next, let's have this parabola opens downward. So, saan nga ba nakalocate si focus? Si focus ay nakalocate below the vertex kasi it opens downward. So, that is the distance C. And it is the focus or the ordered pair point F, 0, negative C kasi it is below the vertex. Any point on the parabola has the same distance from the focus as it has from the directrix. Ibig sabihin, you point any point on the parabola, equidistant siya from the point to the focus, equidistant from the point to the directrix. So, let's illustrate. So, this is our parabola. It has a focus of point F, 0C, and a directrix below the vertex. So, this is the point that I am telling you, and we can name it as point P. So, it is an ordered pair. It has a coordinate of xy. The distance from point P to the focus and the distance from point P to the directrix are equidistant. And from point P, the line forming from point P to the directrix forms a right angle. Ibig sabihin, 90 degrees yan. It is the pinakamalapit na distance from the point to the directrix. From the point P to focus, we can call it line PF. And from the point P to our directrix, we can call it as line PPL. And line PF is equal to line PPL. We can prove it using the distance formula. We are trying to prove if line PF is equal to or equidistant to PPL. So, from the distance formula, we have the square root of x squared plus the quantity y minus c squared equals y minus negative c. Next, the square root of x squared plus the quantity y minus c squared is equal to negative times negative, kaya siya naging positive dito. Next, let us square the both sides of our equation. So we have x squared plus y squared minus 2cy plus c squared is equal to y squared plus 2cy plus c squared. So we can cancel y squared and c squared and c squared. What remains is x squared is equal to 4cy. Bakit 4cy? Kasi add mo c, 2cy at 2cy is equal to 4cy. Next part is the axis of symmetry. So the lines divide the parabola into two parts which are minor images of each other. From the word itself, symmetry, hahatiin sa gitna, o ito yung line na naghahati sa gitna, and then the other part is equal to the other part, or it is the image of the other part. So pagka ang vertex mo ay nasa 0, 0, pwedeng ang ating axis of symmetry ay x is equal to 0 or y is equal to 0. Depende kung saan siya naka-open. Let's have this illustration for you to understand. So this is our parabola. So it is given the vertex, the focus, the directrix, and point P. And our axis of symmetry is the pink line, which is the y-axis. The axis of symmetry of this parabola is x is equal to 0. Let's move on to the properties of a parabola. Please understand this and analyze this. Palagi dapat ninyong tatandaan ito mga to kasi ito ang magiging susi para ma-solve ninyo yung mga problems natin involving parabola. So the first property is the line through the focus perpendicular to the directrix is called the axis of the curve or axis of symmetry. So, si axis of symmetry, ito yung perpendicular line na naghahati. Perpendicular siya kay directrix at hinahati niya yung parabola into two equal parts. Next property, we have the point where the axis intersects the curve is the vertex of the parabola. So, it is self-explanatory. It is the axis, it is the point where the axis and the curve intersects. The vertex, denoted by V, is a point midway between the focus and the directrix. So, tatandaan ito ha, si vertex palaging nasa gitna ni focus at ni directrix. The undirected distance from V to F is a positive number denoted by C. Remember this, there is no negative distance. So, kahit makuha mo dun sa formula or makikita mo dun sa formula na may negative, palagi pa rin positive si C. Next property we have, the line through F perpendicular to the axis is called the latus rectum, whose length is 4C. So, the length from the vertex up to the focus or the directrix is the C. But if you're going to multiply 4, that is the latus rectum. So if you're going to see that in our formula. This is a parabola opens upward. So this is how a parabola opens upward looks like. Now, this is the parabola opens downward looks like. So, the vertex is in the middle of the directrix and the focus is under the vertex. The directrix is above the vertex. This is a parabola opens to the left. The focus is to the left of the vertex. Kaya siya naging to the left kasi si focus ang palatandaan kung saan siya mag-open. And the directrix is to the right of the vertex. And this is the parabola opens to the right. The vertex, the focus is on the right of the vertex and the directrix is on the left of the vertex. Now, these are the standard equations of a parabola if the vertex is at the origin. So, yung vertex natin ay 0, 0. So, mamaya ipapakita ko yung mga standard equation kung ang ating vertex ay wala sa origin. So, wag papalito. So, itong mga standard equation na to ng parabola, ito ay kung ang ating vertex ay nasa center or origin or the vertex is at 0, 0. So, if the parabola opens upward, our standard equation is x squared is equal to 4cy. And if our parabola opens downward, our standard equation is x squared is equal to negative 4cy. So, what is the difference? It is the negative sign. Next, if the parabola opens to the right, our standard equation is y squared is equal to 4cx. And if our parabola opens to the left, our standard equation is y squared is equal to negative 4cx. Please, tandaan nyo itong mga standard equation na to, and because they will help a lot for you to understand and for you to solve the problems involving parabola. Now let's have example 1. Determine the focus and directrix of the parabola with the given equation. Number 1, x squared is equal to 12y. Number 2, x squared is equal to negative 6y. Sketch the graph and indicate the following: the focus, the directrix, the vertex, and the axis of symmetry. So let's have example 1. Our given is x squared is equal to 12y. So we're going to find the vertex, the focus, the directrix, the axis of symmetry, and the opening. So we're also going to graph it. So the given is x squared is equal to 12y. So familiar siya, di ba? We can associate it with the formula x squared is equal to 4cy. So this means that our vertex is 0, 0. So let's have the focus. How are we going to solve the focus? We will equate 4c to our to 12. So 4c is equal to 12. We will solve for c. So we will isolate c. We will divide both sides of the equation by 4. So c is equal to 3. Meaning, our focus is 0, 3. By the way, our parabola opens upward. So it is indicated by our equation x squared is equal to 4cy. So the focus is 3 units above the vertex because our parabola opens upward. And the directrix is 3 units below the vertex. So let's graph. The vertex is at 0, 0. And our focus is 3 units above the vertex. So that is our focus. And the directrix is 3 units below. So yon. The directrix is a line. So I will indicate it as a dashed line. So our directrix is y is equal to negative 3 since it is below the origin. So we can now draw our parabola. It opens upward. Tandaan nyo, si focus palagi ang nagsasabi kung saang direction siya mag-open. So our axis of symmetry, of course, it divides our parabola into two equal parts. So, yun ang ating axis of symmetry. Therefore, our axis of symmetry is the y-axis, and it is x is equal to 0. And the opening is, of course, it opens upward. Next is another example for example 1. X squared is equal to negative 6y. Find vertex, focus, directrix, axis of symmetry, and the opening of the parabola. So we will also graph it and interpret the results. So our given is x squared minus 6y. So from our formula, we can associate it. It is alike. X squared is equal to negative 4cy. Ano ibig sabihin? Ang opening natin ay downward. Kasi our equation or our standard equation is x squared is equal to negative 4cy. Of course, our vertex is 0, 0. So to solve for the focus, we will equate our latus rectum, negative 4c to negative 6. So, solve for c. Divide both sides by negative 4. So, c is equal to positive 3 over 2. This is now our distance from the focus to the vertex and from the vertex to our directrix. This means that the focus is 3 over 2 units below. Bakit below? Because our parabola is facing downward, below the vertex. Next, the directrix is 3 over 2 units above the vertex. 3 over 2 is equal to 1.5. So, to solve our focus, we have F is equal to, or F is negative 3 over 2. 0, negative 3 over 2, because it is below our vertex. So, we can now sketch the graph. Our vertex is at 0, 0, and our focus is below the vertex because it opens downward. So, negative 3 over 2 or negative 1/2. So, take note, negative 3 over 2 is negative 1 and 1/2, I mean. So, the parabola is facing downward. And for our directrix, it is 3 over 2 or 1.5 units above the vertex. So, that is our directrix, and it is y is equal to positive 3 over 2. Because it is above the origin. Next, for our axis of symmetry, it is the line that divides our parabola. It is x is equal to 0, and our parabola is facing downward. Now, let's have more properties of parabola. Let's have this question. What if the vertex is at HK? So, it is not at the origin. It is at any point on the Cartesian plane. Wala siya sa gitna. So, paano yon? What will be the standard equation for the parabola? Of course, we have here are the answers. So, if the parabola is facing upward, we have this standard equation. Ibig sabihin, si HK or si vertex ay nasa HK at wala sa origin. By the way, the origin is here. And the vertex of our parabola is over here. So, the equation, the standard equation, if the parabola is facing upward is the quantity x minus h squared is equal to 4c times the quantity y minus k. Next is, this parabola is facing downward. So, we will have a standard equation of By the way, the origin is here, and the vertex of our parabola is over here at the first quadrant, and it is facing downward. So our standard equation for this parabola at vertex at HK is the quantity x minus h squared is equal to negative 4c times the quantity y minus k. So yung kanina walang negative because it faced upward, but this time it is facing downward, meron na siya negative. The directrix L is horizontal. Ito yon. Horizontal, ibig sabihin pahiga. And the axis of symmetry is equal to h. Ibig sabihin, vertical siya. This one. Next, we have this parabola facing to the right. So this is the origin of our Cartesian plane, and this is our vertex, the vertex of our parabola facing to the right. So if our parabola is facing to the right, the standard equation is the quantity y minus k squared is equal to 4c times the quantity x minus h. The directrix is vertical, and the axis of symmetry is horizontal. So this is the focus, and this is the vertex. Now, for our parabola facing to the left, we have this standard equation. Tatandaan yung mga standard equation because it will help you to solve later. So, quantity y minus k squared is equal to negative 4c times x minus h. So our origin is over here, and our vertex is over here. So the parabola is facing to the left. So ito yung focus, and ito yung ating directrix. This is our axis of symmetry. The directrix is vertical, and the axis of symmetry is horizontal. Let's have example number 2. Graph and analyze the parabola with the vertex at V0, 0. Focus it is F negative 2, 0. Find the following: A. Directrix, B. Axis of symmetry, and the standard equation of the parabola. So we're going to graph and analyze, and of course, find the following. So we have example 2. Given our vertex at 0, 0 and our focus at negative 2, 0. So we're going to analyze and graph first to find the directrix, the axis of symmetry, and the standard equation. So let's plot first our vertex, which is at the origin 0, 0. And our focus is negative 2, 0. So it is on the left of our vertex. So our parabola is obviously facing to the left, or opens to the left. Opens to the left or facing to the left is the same, okay? So ang palatandaan natin ay si focus. So the focus is 2 units from the vertex. That's why C is equal to 2. So the directrix is 2 units to the right. So that is our directrix. So our directrix is x. Our directrix is vertical, so it is x is equal to positive 2. Next, for our axis of symmetry, it is the x-axis. That's why AOS is axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is y is equal to 0. And for our standard equation, since our parabola opens to the left, we have y squared is equal to negative 4cx. So we will just substitute 2 to c to find the standard equation. So y squared is equal to negative 4 times 2x. Y squared is equal to negative 4 times 2 is negative 8x. And that is now our standard equation for our parabola. Example number 3. So we have this equation of the parabola, and it is obvious that our vertex is at HK and not the origin. So y is equal to 3x squared minus 12x plus 16. So we are going to determine the following: the vertex, the focus, the directrix, axis of symmetry, sketch. We were going to sketch the graph and the opening of our parabola. Let's have example 3. Y is equal to 3x squared minus 12x plus 16. So, ang pagsasamahin natin is yung dalawang parehong variable. At si 16, ilalagay natin kay y. So, isusulat ko sa left side si 3x squared minus 12x para makita natin, ma-follow natin yung format ng formula. At si y sa right side. So, nothing happens kay y, ibig sabihin, 16 ang nilipat natin sa left side. Kaya siya naging negative. So, we will factor out 3. So, what happens is 3 times the quantity x squared minus 4x is equal to y minus 16. Now, let's complete the square para maging perfect square trinomial siya. So, for us to complete the square, let's have the 4 or the middle term, which is 4 divided by 2 and square it. So, we have 4. So, 3 times the quantity x squared minus 4x plus yung nakuha natin, which is 4 equals, rewrite y minus 16 plus 3 times 4. So, para maging equal yung ating equation. So, we have to do that. Next, factor na natin. So, we can have the square root of x squared is x and the square root of 4 is 2. Is equal to y minus 16 plus 3 times 4 is 12 is negative 4. So, we divide both sides by 3 to isolate x minus 2 squared. So, what remains to the left side is x minus 2 squared is equal to 1/3. Do not distribute, okay? 1/3 times the quantity y minus 4. That is now our standard equation for our parabola. So, for our vertex, it is at the HK. So, that is the H. Palaging kasama ni X ay si H at ni K is our K is 4. So, our vertex V is 2, 4. Next, let's have our focus. So, our latus rectum is 4C and it's equal to 1/3. Let's equate it. Next, let's solve for C. Nga pala, from our standard equation, we can determine that our parabola opens upward. So, since the formula is resembling to our equation. So, we will divide both sides by 4. So, our C is 1/12. So, for our focus, since it is facing upward, we're going to add to our y. So, plus 1/12. Because our focus is 1/12 units above our vertex. So, it is fraction, so we have to add it in a fraction way. So, 12 times 4 is 48. So, 12 divided by 12 is 1 times 1 is 1. So, add mo lang. So, we have our focus to 49/12. Next, letter C. Let's have the directrix. So, in order to find our directrix, of course, it is 1/12 below our vertex. So, we're going to subtract 1/12 from 4. So, 4 minus 1/12. 1 over 12 is our C. It is the distance from the vertex up to our directrix. So 12 times 4 is 48. 12 divided by 12 is 1 times 1. 48 minus 1 is 47 over 12. That is our directrix. Now let's plot the graph. Let's plot the points. So let's find first the axis of symmetry. The clue here is the x on the vertex. That is the axis of symmetry. So our vertex is at 2, 4. So that is our vertex at 2, 4. Next, our focus is 249 over 12. Over 12 is also equivalent to 4 and 1 over 12. So that is our focus. 2 and 49 over 12. So our parabola opens upward. For our directrix, we have y is equal to 47 over 12. And 47 over 12. So that is our directrix. Y is equal to 47 over 12. And 47 over 12 is also equivalent to 3 and 11 over 12. And for our axis of symmetry, we have x is equal to 2. Let's have example 4. Y squared minus 5x plus 12y is equal to negative 16. Determine the following: the vertex, focus, directrix, axis of symmetry, sketch the graph, and the opening of the parabola. For our example 4, we have y squared minus 5x plus 12y is equal to negative 16. So, pagsasamahin natin dito yung y squared at 12y. So, ililipat natin si negative 5x sa kabila, magiging positive 5x. Tandaan palagi ang iniiwan yung may squared sa left side. Minus 16. So, let's complete the square. Divided by 2 squared. So, 12 divided by 2 is 6. Squared is 36. We're going to add 36 to the both sides of our equations. So, y squared plus 12y plus 36 equals 5x minus 16 plus 36. Next, let's factor this perfect square trinomial. So we have y plus 6 squared equals, add 5x, negative 16 plus 26, 36 is 20. So let's factor out 5 so that we can have our latus rectum, which is 5. So 5 times the quantity x plus 4. That is now our standard equation for our parabola. So this can be familiar or can be associated with the formula y minus k squared equals 4c times the quantity x minus h. And this means that our parabola opens to the right. So let's have first the vertex of our parabola. So our k is 6. Positive siya doon, ilalagay natin negative because negative times negative is positive. So our h is negative 4. And our k is negative 6. Pansinin nyo yung formula, negative siya at naging positive siya doon. Ibig sabihin, negative yung ating k. Next is the focus. So to find the focus, we will equate 4c or the latus rectum to our latus rectum in our standard form. So 4c is equal to 5 divided by 4. So c is equal to 5 over 4. That is the distance from the vertex to the focus and to the directrix. So to find the focus, we will add 5 over 4 to negative 4. Because it opens to the right, ibig sabihin, nasa right C, focus. So 4 is our LCD, times 4 is negative 16, plus 5. So negative 16 plus 5 is negative 11 over 4. So our focus is negative 11 over 4, negative 6. Or, si negative 11 over 4 can also be written as, kung nalilito sa fraction, gawin nating mixed number, 2 and 3/4. Paano ginawa yon? 11 divided by 4 is 2. Remainder 3. 3 is our numerator over 4. Next, we have the directrix. So, in order to find the directrix, we will subtract 5 over 4 to negative 4. So, x is equal to negative 4 minus 5 over 4. So, LCD is 4. 4 divided by 1 is 4 times 4 is negative 16. 4 divided by 4 is 1 times negative 5 is negative 5. So, pareho sila ng sign. So, we will add them, negative 21 over 4. Or, we can also write them in a mixed number. We have 21 divided by 4 is negative 5 and 1/4. And for our axis of symmetry, we have y is equal to negative 6. Now, let's graph our parabola. Let's sketch the graph of our parabola. So, the vertex is at negative 4, negative 6. So, that is our vertex. For our focus, we have to the right of our vertex. That's why it is facing to the right. And for our directrix, we have x is equal to negative 5 and 1/4. So that is a line, that is not a point. That is y is equal to, x is equal to negative 5 and 1/4. And for our axis of symmetry, we have y is equal to negative 6. For our last example, we have 5x squared plus 30x plus 24y equals 51. Determine the following: vertex, focus, directrix, axis of symmetry, sketch the graph, and the opening of the parabola. For our example 5, we have 5x squared plus 30x plus 24y equals 51. So, pagsasamahin natin si 5x squared at 30x at si 24y, ililipat natin sa kabila. So, 5x squared plus 30x is equal to negative 24y plus 51. Next, let's factor out 5. So, 5 times the quantity x squared, 30x divided by 5 is 6x. So, let's complete the square already. Plus 6 over 2 squared. So, 6 divided by 2 is 3 squared equals 9. So, plus 9 equals, rewrite negative 24y plus 51 plus 5 times 9. Next, let's factor the perfect square trinomial. Square root of x squared is x, square root of 9 is 3. And then if we are going to add, we will have 6. So, we have x plus 3 squared minus, let's add 51 and 5 times 9, we have positive 96. Next, let's factor out negative 24 in our binomial. So, we have y minus 96 divided by negative 24 is negative 4. And let's divide both sides of the equation by 5 to isolate x plus 3 squared is equal to, do not divide, just write negative 24 over 5 times the quantity y minus 4 to get the format of our equation. Looks familiar, right? Because this equation follows the pattern of the formula x minus h squared equals negative 4c times the quantity y minus k. Meaning, our parabola opens downward. So, let's have the vertex of our parabola. So, our h is negative 3. Our k is positive 4. So, our vertex is at negative 3, 4. Next, letter B, for our focus, let's equate 4c, negative 4c, so negative 4c will be equated to negative 24 over 5. So, we will divide both by negative 4 to isolate c. So, c is equal to negative 24 over 5 times negative 1/4. So, we can cancel 24 and 4. 24 becomes 6 and 4 becomes 1. 6 times 1 is 6 over 5 times 1 is 5. So our C is 6 over 5. So for our focus, since it is facing downward, we are going to subtract from our 4. Subtract 6 over 5. So negative 3, our LCD is 5. 5 times 4 is 20, minus 6. So 20 minus 6 is 14 over 5. That is now our focus. So we can also write as negative 3. 14 divided by 5 is 2 and 4 over 5. So if you are not fond of improper fraction, so we can convert it into a mixed number. Next, for the directrix, y is equal to, we will add 6 over 5 to 4. Since the directrix is above the vertex because our parabola opens downward. So our LCD is 5 times 4 is 20 plus 6. 20 plus 6 is 26 over 5. So that is our directrix. So if you're not fond of mixed number, 26 divided by 5 is 5 and 1/5. And for our axis of symmetry, we have x is equal to negative 3. Now we are ready to sketch the graph of our parabola. So let's start with the vertex, negative 3 and positive 4. Medyo mahirap mag-sketch ng graph sa hindi graphing paper. That's why I am suggesting that you have to solve or sketch your graph in a graphing paper to have an accurate graph. Next, we have the focus, which is negative 3 and 2, 4 over 5. That's why our parabola is facing downward. For our directrix, it is 5 and 1/5. So that is our directrix. 5 and 1/5. And for our axis of symmetry, we have x is equal to negative 3. Our axis of symmetry is a vertical line. X is equal to negative 3. That is our solution. Now you can answer your modules in pre-calculus. Hope this video helps you a lot in answering. See you next video. Bye-bye.